I just wanted to clarify some things in reference to my recent upload about Lunar Shabbat. Some things need to be clarified, and I pray that as those that really want to have more understanding about Shabbat of this nature, I pray that you all receive this as you grow in your understanding, your overstanding of these things. And I realized I needed to go into some detail because there could be, and I believe there are some things that were being missed, according to some dialogue that I was having with some brothers and sisters in the belief. And the underlying theme was one aspect specifically that I wanted to make sure that I was breaking out to really give further clarity. But before I go into that, I again want to reiterate to please seek the Most High, Yah, for the understanding. His Ruach, His Spirit will be the one to guide you into all of this truth. And I'm sharing this based on what was revealed to me. We have to work out our own salvation with fear and trembling. We just have to be obedient to that fact. So all esteem again to Abba Yah. And I pray this won't be long. I also pray that those that truly want this understanding, truly are desiring to be clear on this, that you all's understanding will be opened by Abba Yah, and you will receive what's being said in the authority of Yahushua HaMashiach. I pray that. Hallelujah. So be it. So reiterating some of what I shared previously, and this is in Enoch 40, it's 46 is the, actually it starts at 45 is the verse, but it is 72. So Enoch chapter 72, starting at verse 45. This is the law and the progress of the sun, and its turning when it turns back, turning 60 days and going forth. This is the great everlasting luminary, that which he names the sun forever and ever. Verse 46, this is also that which goes forth, a great luminary, and which is named after its peculiar kind, as Elohim commanded it. So the sun, these verses here are saying that the sun is the great luminary. The sun is first, according to the luminary. Historically, when looking at another aspect in reference to the type of moon, paganism, they were already doing a type of Shabbat well before Moshe's time, Moses' time. They were already doing it. And we see the crescent or the conjunction moon, more than likely, I believe it was their moon that they were following. If they weren't following the sun, because we know that they do sun worship too. The reason why I'm saying that is because of, look at how many religions have this specific type of moon, the crescent moon, the dark conjunction moon, as being their moon, or as part of their symbol. Perfect example of that right off the top is Islam. But that's not the only religion. So that in itself is telling. Are we set apart truly? Or are we going to continue to follow these other religions? Because again, bear in mind, they were doing these things. They had their own Shabbat well before it was established for Yasharah. And so that is definitely something else we need to consider. So Enoch 73 through 75 give some details as to the numbering, the luminaries, the sun being the greater luminary, as I read previously, the moon and the stars being the lesser luminaries. But they're still luminaries. They still exude light. And it also breaks down their count, their yearly count. So the moon has a count, which is 354 days. And the moon count, which is 10 days less than the sun, whose count is 364 days, that number is comprised within the 365-day total, along with the stars count. Okay? That 354-day count is not separate from that sun count of 364. It is within that 364-day total. And so if there are calendars out there that are strictly lunar, in reference to Shabbat, it's not going to work. They're not correct. They are not going to be correct. Once again, this is all about 3 witnesses for this to be established. The luminaries are the sun, the moon, and the stars. And the total of those 3 luminaries are how these Shabbats come forth. So forgive me if my wording was not clear when I said lunar Shabbats. It's because I'm looking at it based on the moon, as opposed to some say, maybe, I don't know if they use the term solar Shabbat, but their Shabbat is based on the sun, for example. Mine is not. As I'm talking about this, I'm realizing it could be the wording that is causing a level of misunderstanding. And I want to make sure that's clear, because this is not just specifically about a lunar calendar of 354 days. Absolutely not. It's not going to work. So once again, I just want to reiterate to just drive this point across. But again, I highly recommend you to get in the scripts in Chanakh and read the passages for yourself. But it does talk about the greater luminary as being the sun, the lesser luminary because it's the light, it's lesser light, but again, it's still light. This is all about light. It's not about darkness. We got to always keep that in mind. This is another reason why I believe that it is not a sliver of a moon at all. Because as I stated previously, Abba Yah already showed me that this was about light. And he's not about partiality either. So in knowing this and reading here in these passages, it speaks to it specifically as well. And this is in further in on chapter 78 of Tanakh. It talks about the new moon day, and it specifically says the moon shines all the night. Well, until the sun rises before it, when the moon disappears in turn before the sun. Well, there's only one moon that shines all night and all 4 night watches. It's not a conjunction moon or a crescent moon. The only moon that shines throughout all 4 night watches is the full moon. That's it. So this passage in Tanakh 78, starting with verse 14 through 16, specifically gives that further confirmation of this. Tanakh 82, starting with verse 7, will summarize what I'm speaking about. And it reads, so that the year is completed in 364 days. Verse 8, truly has been stated and accurately has been calculated that which is marked down for the luminaries, the months, the fixed periods, the years, and the days. Uriel has explained to me and communicated to me, whom Yahweh of all creation on my account commanded, according to the might of Shamayim, heaven, and the power which it possesses both by night and by day, to explain light to man, of the sun, moon, and stars, and of all the powers of Shamayim, which are turned with their respective orbs. Verse 9, summarizing. This is the ordinance of the stars, which set in their places, in their seasons, in their periods, in their days, in their months. And so this gives a total overall picture that these luminaries are what usher in our days, months, years, seasons, because it's the movement of these luminaries that bring in our seasons and our years as well. Specifically, the equinoxes, the spring equinox, the autumn equinox, the summer, I think that's the vernal equinox. So it brings about these seasons. Now, I have to confess, I am not one to be all about this kind of stuff. This is definitely something that the Most High has been showing me. But this is not something that I'm not a fan of math per se. I'm not a mathematician by any means. I'm not a fan of astronomy. So this is definitely the Ruach that's moving with all of this. So the passage in Jubilees 6, starting with verse 29, throughout the end of the chapter, that passage, when it talks about, and specifically starting with verse 36, when it talks about the observations of the moon, I spoke on this in that teaching. It's not saying the type of moon. It's not saying the type of moon specifically. That's what we need to focus on in that passage. It's not telling the specific type of moon, in that, yes, you will bring it in too soon. If you're observing these days, if you're making the observations of the moon based on the wrong type of moon, you will absolutely do that. And Jubilees I believe, is speaking to that, because if you're not looking at the right type of moon, all your count, all your days, all of it's going to be off. And so this is the other understanding I wanted to bring forth. As I stated, I am readily available. More than likely, I will be updating my notes to include some further details. But again, please seek out this knowledge and information for yourself. But I definitely wanted to clarify that, because it was the count that was not clear for many. Well, I wouldn't say many, pardon me for saying that. But for the people that I've spoken with about it. So for me, if that's the case, there could be other people out there that feel the same way and are just playing it safe, so to speak, by just continuing to do Saturday, Shabbat, because they don't have this understanding, which I get it, because it was the same case for me. I wasn't trying to move from it until my understanding was tighter, But in all of this, just to reiterate before I close, this is about seeing Abba Yahweh, Abba Yah, and Mashiach, HaMashiach, and all of this. It's about them. This is why we're doing what we're doing, to reverence them. We cannot ever lose sight of that. All right. Please leave your comments, and let's chop it up spiritually. Hallelujah. Y'all be blessed. This is UTEriKiYah Yahudah, Unapologetic Truth channel. Shalom, shalom, shalom.